let's see. This is an interesting one. We have Innocent, who is calling in from Malawi. Innocent, you are live on Talk Heathen.
Okay. First of all, I'm glad that there's a show that matches my time zone, because most of your shows start at like 1 a.m. or something.
Yeah, I imagine you're maybe the only person I've ever talked to in my life from Malawi, so I'm going to have to trust you on that because I don't know where it would be at time zone wise. I guess it's central. Yeah, that makes sense.
My geography is...
Because it's Central African time.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so, Innocent, what do you got for us today?
Okay, so you guys believe that beliefs are no choices, right?
Do we?
Well, personally, we're talking about determinism.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on determinism are that if I had the capacity to anticipate all of the myriad inputs and senses and physics and stuff of the universe, that although if those other things could be modeled, then yeah, maybe there is no actual free will. But because the system is so amazingly complex and there's no way to comprehend it, I'm going to move forward through life thinking that I have choices and acting that I have choices because, hey, it's worked out so far, and, you know, worrying about my fate being predetermined does me no good.
Yeah, like I think I would kind of echo that. I'm like a determinist as well in that sense. I'm mostly a naturalist, mostly a physicalist, more importantly a constructive empiricist. But at the end of the day, I don't really have room for forces outside of really physically describable ones that would be able to determine my decisions, right? So I think I, as a person, ObjectivelyDan, is a physical system and is therefore subject to the laws of nature, right? So I may have the illusion of free will, but I think, like, in an ultimate sense, I may not actually have it. So yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Yeah, we're beholden to the universe in which we reside.
Right. So anyway, that's our take on that.
Okay, so my question is, what's the point of this kind of shows, of these call-in shows? I mean, I can come in, give my evidence, you give your reasons why you are not convinced, but at the end of the day, no one's mind will be changed because we are not convinced by what other people tell us. We just believe. So,
well,
what's the point of trying to get someone out of religion when it is not their choice to be in there? Like,
great question.
You cannot control whether they believe or not.
So I think that we are physical systems, right? I think that we exist in the physical world. We're a part of the physical systems. You can change the output of physical systems. A computer is a completely deterministic machine, but I can choose whether to make it open Microsoft Word or Adobe Photoshop, right? Like, I still interact with it and change its outcome. So I think human beings are the same way. Just because we're determinist systems doesn't mean that we can't change the way that we operate.
Yeah.
I was a Christian. I'm actually very public about this. There's a video you can see of me as a Christian talking to an atheist. And I had my beliefs changed. And I really mean it when I say that our emails, we literally get people every week from folks saying, oh, wow, like, this show changed my mind on a lot of things. So, yeah, we may not change every single caller's mind. I think that's true, right? I don't expect people to just completely change their worldview after a single conversation. But our clips and our videos get watched by thousands of people. And some of those people are thinking about things in a new way. And I think that's the kind of change I'm interested in and looking for.
And here's the other side of that coin, in the fact that although, you know, it's very obvious that we are challenging like theistic and deistic and supernatural worldviews, I still am open to evidence. Like, again, the $10,000 challenge of can you fix my eyes, God, kind of thing. May sound facetious, but I'm honestly, like, happy if someone could prove, give sufficient evidence for something outside of my current sphere of knowledge. I am going to be so super psyched for that, because that means I'm a little bit better at knowing what world I'm in, which is one of the things I want to do with my life.
Yeah, Absolutely. So that's a little secret about this show, Innocent. Well, it's a secret, but it's an open secret.
Yeah.
I treat every single caller with respect and with the intention that they're going to listen to me, and they may not change their mind at the end of the day, but I'm also doing this for an audience. I'm doing this for people who are watching at home. And like, really, that's what I'm interested in making this content for. It's not just the conversations I'm having live with the folks here. It's everybody that's watching. I think that is really where the impact happens most of the time.
And because people's beliefs inform their decision making and
Right.
inform the way that they interact with the world, we want to try and have it that people are making good decisions because this is a world we have to share.
Yes.
And where we have people that we care about living in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there you go. What do you think?
Both are good answers. So I got curious.
Yeah.
What do you think makes someone believe? If it's not a choice, what makes someone believe?
There's
Complicated.
Yeah, there's different people believe things for different reasons. Like we want to be empiricists, we want to believe because of evidence, but some people just believe on feeling. Like it makes them feel nice, so they'll believe it.
It's true. I think the science of psychology has tried to study how people come to beliefs, and I don't think we have a great explanation as to how. We have some ideas, we have some through lines, but we don't even know how our brains work. Honestly, like ask the top neurologists in the world. They tell you how much do we know about our brains. I almost guarantee you they'll probably say we don't know as much as we should, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much to human beings that we still don't know. What we do know is like anecdotes and personal testimony, because that's all we can do with human beings. Like literally, if a person is saying, I changed my mind because of this, that may not actually be true. Like it may just be a reconstruction, but it can give us a pointer or some better ideas. And the other thing is, of course, observing people's life. For me, I encountered a method called street epistemology, and that was really impactful in the way that I deconstructed my ideas. But maybe it wasn't street epistemology. Maybe it's just like my physiology just happened to react to the ideas in such a way that made me find them more convincing. Everybody does have a set of internal values that maybe may not be so malleable, but we can still make appeals to those values to convince people of ideas, right?
Yeah, and there's of course like aspects of neuroscience and the fact that people's brains are wired differently.
Yeah,
If you are neurodivergent or have things like that, then the way you believe and the way you think is different to and that has to be taken into account as well.
For the record, too, I totally believe that there are people in this world who, on certain issues, it is just literally physically impossible for them to change their mind about something. I agree. There's definitely people like that. I don't think that's everybody, though. I think if you ask people, and there have been surveys that have been done on people's religious beliefs over time, a significant population of people have changed their minds on very fundamental ideas. And so I definitely know it is possible. Is it possible for everyone? Definitely not. I don't think so. But it is possible for some people, and I think that's important.
Thank you for those answers, because I really wanted to get the atheist point of view on this. As in my country, there is a very low percentage of atheists.
Sure.
I think it's about 6 to 4%
Yeah.
of the population.
Yeah.
So, like, this is my first time ever talking to an atheist.
Well, great. I'm glad you got to talk to Jamie. So.
I would say one thing. There's a difference between the number of atheists and the number of people who will admit that
That's
they're
right.
atheists, and that depends on things like the government and stuff like that.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah.
Pretty much worldwide, atheists are still probably one of the lowest positively received religious minorities like in the world, right? Like I don't know if it's the lowest worldwide. It's statistically, from what I've seen from Pew survey, is the lowest in the United States. I imagine that's true in a lot of countries. But yeah, that's another aspect of it too. There's probably more people out there than you realize, even in Malawi, that don't believe, but probably are too afraid to say it. I know people in the U.S. where it's hard for them to come out. I can't imagine what it's like in...
And that's another reason why we do what we do, to give
Right.
someone a safe space to talk.
Exactly.
And a literal safe space to come in and be.
Yes. We totally believe that's a good thing. But yeah, Innocent, any other thoughts you had before we wrap up this call?
No, not really, because I just wanted to talk to atheists.
Yeah, you did
See
it.
their perspective.
Check that off the bucket
If you want
list.
to ask me a question, Yeah, so if you want to ask me a question, you can go ahead and do it.
To be honest, we I don't know. We have other callers that definitely want to talk to us.
But do feel free to call back, because there are questions we could ask. We just don't have the time to go over them. Like, what do you believe?
Yeah.
Why? The whole epistemology thing. But we're just not got the time for it today, I'm afraid.
Definitely, since this is a good time for you to watch the show, call in with another host and be like, hey, I believe in XYZ, and then have those hosts ask you questions about it. And that's a great way to start a dialogue with us.